Hello, my name is Claudia Talbot, and I'll be performing Two Men of Profound Ambitions and Violent Passions, the enmity between Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. Thank you, madam. I'm quite sorry for the intrusion. James, I need to talk to you. It's about Mr. Hamilton. It's about his incessant pandering about the need for a national bank. Now his attacks in the newspapers have gotten personal. They're no longer just about my policies and beliefs. Yes, I know we convinced Freneau to publish his attacks on Hamilton in the National Gazette, but they were only meant to attack his policies and get him out of office. They weren't meant to be personal. Okay, maybe just a little. Okay, but you have to listen to this. This showed up a couple days ago in the newspaper. Mr. Jefferson is a man of profound ambition and violent passions, who is guided by an unsound and dangerous philosophy. Okay, and then he goes on to say that I have the temperament of a French revolutionary and an ardent desire to succeed President Washington. But you know that's untrue. I didn't even want the position of Secretary of State. I was perfectly happy representing the United States in the court of Versailles in France. But then I received a letter from the Senate saying that I had been appointed Secretary of State, which they quickly confirmed at the request of General Washington. So I sailed back to the United States and took up my post, which was a little bit challenging because I was there and then Alexander Hamilton was already in place. He and I didn't really get along from the start. The best example is, of course, the Compromise of 1790. The last time I would say we even got along a little bit. You already know this, but let me just re-explain it. It will help you when I get to my point. So, Hamilton wanted to pass a plan that would allow the national government to assume all state debts due to the war. And I thought that was a good idea. I mean, I knew that something worse could be coming later on. Of course, I didn't tell Hamilton that. So he asked me if I could arrange a dinner so that we could come up with a plan, a compromise, so to speak, that we'd all agree on. And I decided to invite you so that we could have some representation of Congress involved, just so we get a plan that would actually pass. And while the two of you came up with a plan that worked, the national government would assume all state debts, and the national capital would move down the Potomac River to somewhere around Virginia and Maryland. And that would be chosen by President Washington. So no longer would the capital be in New York, but be closer to the south. That worked. The compromise was a good idea. But after that, there were no more compromises. Now, before I get into the national bank, we say we did have some similar beliefs. We both thought that natural-born rights were very important and critical to the success of a nation. We also both agreed that slavery needed to be abolished at some point. Hamilton wanted it now, whereas I felt a gradual emancipation would be the only way to appease everyone. So I suggested that we'd officially abolish slavery around 1800 with a gradual method that at that year anybody who would become of age, a woman at about 18 and a man around 21, they would be freed and be able to live in their own colony, which would be monitored by the national government until it was deemed it could rule itself. And, of course, the freed people that are freed now would have been educated at the public's expense through the government, so that they would be able to run themselves. That was my plan, and Hamilton didn't agree because he thought it needed to happen now, and the South didn't agree because it was freeing the slaves. And so you suggested, rightfully so, that we should put it off for another group of people to solve, the next president or next cabinet. But, alas, that's where our similarities really stopped. But on to the national bank, because I digress from what I'm actually talking about. The myriad of problems, Hamilton's special national bank. So, he wanted a bank that would be a bank run by the national government that would be after the English model, with a strong national government that would be able to curb the natural ambitious nature of humanity. Well, I thought a small central government would suffice, with stronger state governments, because humanity in itself was benevolent and wouldn't be need to all the restrictions that a national government would impose. Of course, Washington sided with Hamilton on the bank. Thought it was a good idea. And he sided on Hamilton with virtually everything. New Yorker over Virginia, his wartime aide-de-camp. And if Hamilton hadn't been his aide-de-camp, well, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't see him there. It'd be somebody else who would be more agreeable. And now, James, I'm not blaming you on this, but the Constitution has caused some of the problems. The necessary and proper clause has been the most important. Hamilton deems it necessary for these laws and proper that they should fit into the Constitution and proper that they should become new government policy. And he's used that and his own influence over Washington to make every decision in the cabinet, including disrupting the alliance that I had with France. The monarchist is fighting back. Yes, I like France, but they're not a monarchy. And yes, I like their culture and their food and their people, but they joined us in the glorious revolution. They support similar beliefs to us. Okay. Yes, I think we should have had an alliance with them. We told the Marquis de Lafayette, when we were fighting the revolution, we would support their country if they needed it. And the minute that they call and they say they need us, we back out. We decide to become a neutral nation. And that was Hamilton's idea. He thought that was a good idea. I disagreed. France is our ally. We need to support France. But of course, Washington, as I said, Washington sided with Hamilton. So what am I supposed to do? I can't duel him. You know I don't like duels. I'm not as inclined to violence as Hamilton is. Besides, I see them as an affair of a knight-errantry defending an invisible honor. So you think resignation would be an option? You don't think it would be cowardice or seen as slipping out or just not taking responsibility for my actions, like everyone thought I did as my governmentship when Benedict Arnold was raising Virginia. And they say I fled and ran away and left Virginia to burn. Well, if you really think that I could resign and return to the life I want at Monticello, free from political entanglements, then I was wondering if you could listen to my draft of my resignation letter that I intend to send to Washington. Here, let me get it out. At the close, therefore, of the ensuing month of September, I shall beg leave to retain the scenes of greater tranquillity, from those which I am every day more and more convinced that neither my talents, tone of mind, nor time of life fit me. That you may find one more able to lighten the burden of your labors, I most sincerely wish, for no man more living sincerely wishes, that your administration could be rendered as pleasant to yourself as it is useful and necessary to our country, nor feels for you a more rational or cordial attachment and respect than, dear sir, your most obedient and most humble servant, Thomas Jefferson.